I'm Alex. I run Faceless sports pick pages and I've collected over $600,000 in total doing it, 300,000 of that in the last 12 months. And I'm here to give you the exact $0 to $500,000 roadmap. Here's what the video is going to look like. I'll start with the proof and then I'll go through phase 0, 1, 2, and 3 of monthly revenue and show you some of my own results along the way. At the end of this, I'll get into what you should do specifically. This is a video about how I did it, and so you're going to be able to take most of it and implement it for yourself, but I want to be clear up front that I'm showing you my path, not promising you mine. To date, I've done over $500,000 processed on Whop. I've had over 25,000 payments. As you can see, it's below ticket, anywhere from 15 to 50 a month. And this was my latest month. I have the 4 phases of how I scaled my company to over $500,000 in total revenue net. We're gonna start with phase 0, then we're gonna move to phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, as well as some additional insight that I think is valuable for you guys to have. And then I'll show you guys some testimonials from my students as well. Now, phase 0, this is my background. I think it's good to identify where you kind of fall in here. Maybe some of you guys are sports bettors, maybe you guys aren't. Regardless, this should all make sense for you. And I promise you, I'm so bullish on this opportunity because I genuinely know for a fact that anyone can do it, sports betting background or not. And so first things first, I'll tell you guys about myself. Started as a casual sports bettor, ended up buying picks online. This is just kind of a random side fact, but filled with multiple online businesses. Started this one with $0. And I knew this business worked because I was a customer. Now, how was I the customer? Well, like I said, I was a casual sports bettor. I was losing my bets, and so I needed a way to start winning. And so I go on social media one night, I fall into someone's funnel, and I end up converting and purchasing a weekly pass. This is a real story, by the way. Once I'm in this community, I come to the realization that I'm paying $10 per week. Right? There's also another 3,000 people paying the same price. And so quick math, that is $30,000 per week going to this guy, straight cash in your pocket, right? His costs, essentially zero. My costs up to date, essentially zero. And so if you're anything like me, seeing a figure like this, that someone is making $30,000 a week off selling sports betting advice probably motivates you. At least it did with me. And so that's why I say this business worked, and I knew that it worked before I jumped in because I was a customer, and I'm very difficult to sell. And so that was my background in phase 0 of how all of this started, was seeing that someone was making, let's just take it a step further, times 52 weeks in a year, 1,560,000, I believe, all off selling sports picks. And I'll tell you, when I first jumped into that group, I didn't think it was real. I didn't think there was any way that you could get 3,000 people to pay you $10 a week for this advice. And then later on, and I'll tell you guys about it, I realized that there are people doing millions of dollars per month. And so this was phase 0 for me. Phase 1 was getting to $1,000 a month. After that, I'd seen enough. I knew that I wanted to jump into this space head first and figure out how to get to my first $1,000 a month. Now, when I first created my account, I posted a no one for months. And so if you are looking to get rich tomorrow or the next day or next week, this video is not for you because this does take at least a few weeks of getting your accounts warmed to actually see consistent results with it. And so I posted a no one for months, and then eventually I had a big uptick. That's because I made friends and I started to interact with a lot of these top accounts in the space. And so when I say I interacted, this is what I mean by it, right? I replied, I liked, I retweeted, I DM'd, and I basically made my presence known. Now, what's the beauty of all this right here? Well, the cost to do all of that, $0. And so I simply was a reply guy. I would give hot takes in their comment sections. I would get people to interact with my tweets. And then in return, I started to establish and create relationships with these guys. Once I had the relationships, they boosted me, right? And I had an immediate upturn in my revenue. And so after about a week of gaining relationships and becoming friendly with these guys, I hit my first $1,000 a month. One thing for you guys to keep in mind, because I know that this can be a little bit deceiving, the first customer to get is always going to be the hardest. As you can see right here, my account now that I started just about 2 years ago has gotten over 19 million impressions, close to 20 million. I've had 126,000 profile visits, and I've had about 70,000 likes, 5,000 reposts. The main figure that I look at to this day is going to be my profile visits, because what happens when someone goes to my profile? Well, they go to the link in my bio, which is my website, and from the website, they purchase a plan, which is money in my bank account. So those are the figures that I look at. And so phase one to getting to $1,000 a month was being a part of the community and leeching off of other large accounts. And I'll explain how our program actually helps expedite that process for you. Now, phase two was to scale from $1,000 a month to $10,000 a month, right? Thousands checked off the list. And so really the main levers that I had to pull was consistent posting. By this point, I knew what was going to farm engagement and what had a high virality factor. And so just doubling down on that type of content, perfected my edge to help with retention. Now that I had a decent volume of members coming in, I had to figure out how to keep them happy, which in return will reduce churn. Like I said, when I started this and how I scaled up to probably about $5,000 a month was not by having any sports betting knowledge. In fact, I probably had worse sports betting knowledge than when I started. Aside from that, I raised my prices by about 2x when I started, $10 a week, went to 20 a week. And in return, my conversion rate actually went up and my bottom line 2x. And so that was one of the easiest levers that I pulled in order to increase my revenue to get me from $1,000 a month to $10,000 a month. Aside from that, I added in some of the boring stuff. You have the SMS, the emails, people cancel their subscription, they churn, we want to get them back. Aside from that, I implemented a funnel. Funnel was a big piece of this. I will explain to you guys what exactly a funnel is and what it does. Now, I'm going to draw the funnel for you guys. Super basic. There are multiple layers of it. This is what you call your top of funnel, right? Think of this as your organic social media channels. And so this could be X, this could be IG, this could be TikTok, this could be Facebook, whatever it is. You guys get the idea. This is your social media where you attract eyeballs and get people to look at your page. From here, we want to get them to our profile, right? So step 2 in the funnel is to get them to see your post initially. Something went viral, they see something that they liked, maybe you're winning a sports bet. How do we get them to our profile? That is step 2. Clicked, profile. Step 3, call that the LIB. That is your link in bio, which in our case was a funnel that we're driving people to. And then from the funnel, they go to your Whop or DubClub. That's where they complete their purchase. And then finally, we have the last step in the funnel, which is money, money, money. This is where people purchase. The beauty of a funnel is it essentially expedites what would take 2 weeks of someone having to come across your page, they follow you, and then they wait to see if you are actually what you claim yourself to be. That process used to take 2 weeks. They follow you, and on average, it takes about 25 to 30 different points of contact for someone to make a buying decision. Say you're posting twice a day, it's going to take you about 2 weeks, right? For someone to make a decision. The funnel, specifically this part right here, crams all of your testimonials into one area. So now we go from waiting 2 weeks to someone's making a buying decision in literally 30 seconds. Sorry for the badass. But the funnel was one of the main levers that we pulled. Aside from that, we added CPA deals, which were a massive part of it, and it actually benefits both parties. So basically how this works, I believe this one is Sleeper, this one is Chalkboard. These companies will reach out to you, they'll give you a code. You'll basically push that code to your community. Since I already have all my members funneled into a Whop or a Discord, and I'll tell them, hey, if you guys want 100% deposit bonus, go use code XYZ on Sleeper. You know, deposit 50, they'll match that 50. Same thing with Chalkboard. The beauty of this is I get paid when they go deposit because these sports bettors are worth so much to these companies. And so every time someone were to use my code on Sleeper, they would pay me $100. On Chalkboard, they would pay me $60. This accounted for probably about 25 to 30% of my revenue. And the beauty of this is there are new sportsbooks coming out literally every single day that are eager to work with these accounts. And so if you have the connections to get a hold of them, this is one of the easiest things you can do to start making money. You are able to, what I call, stand on the shoulders of giants, where they handle the fulfillment, they handle all the heavy lifting. You simply just have to get eyeballs to their company. And so CPA deals were a massive part of scaling me from $1,000 to $10,000 a month. And then aside from that, like I said, was becoming an actual profitable sports bettor. As you can see right here, now we are on a strict uptrend. We're gonna move on to phase 3. This was scaling from $10,000 to $30,000 a month. And so the biggest thing here is I actually ended up leveraging my $10,000 per month business to get my foot in the door at DubClub. DubClub, if you don't know, they are the #1 company when it comes to selling picks. And so once I started working there, I was able to basically see the back end and work with all the guys that are doing $50, $100, even $1 million a month and see exactly what they were doing versus what I was doing at $10,000 a month. The knowledge that I learned there is really what helped me bridge the gap to get from $10,000 to $30,000 a month. Aside from that, I worked at Whop and I performed the same task. I worked with all their top creators. And so those are the 2 top platforms in the space. They carry probably about 80% of all handicappers out there. And so I was able to compare and contrast from both companies, was able to learn a bunch, implement those systems into my business, and that's how I got to $30,000 a month. Aside from that, I implemented lifetime packages, replicated the same thing every day, and this was the biggest thing, treating it like a business and not gambling, right? As you guys know, like I told you in phase 0, I entered this space because I was a sports bettor, and so I really had to reframe how I thought of this in terms of treating it like an actual business. If you guys are interested in learning more and figuring out how you can streamline this, just like my students did over here, Ethan hit his 12K month, this guy bought a car, Jake, 30K in 3 months, $300 a day, 103 minutes right here. If you guys want results like this and you don't want to wait and you don't want to figure out all the heavy lifting on your own, I'm going to drop a link in the description where you can book a call and you can talk with us. It's completely free. Literally all you guys need to do is show up to that call. We will see if this is a good fit for you. I hope that you guys found value in this, and I'd love to make more content like this to show you guys what is possible when it comes to making money online. Because this opportunity right here, I promise you, it is so undersaturated, and that is the best time to strike on an industry. I figured this out on my own. Now I've put the roadmap together to show you guys how you can do the same in 1/10 of the amount of time and scale way past me. There's a reason you haven't heard of this industry, and I'm telling you, if you want to make money online in 2026 and you do not want to show your face, this right here is the best way to do it. I'll see you guys in the next one.